it might not be a process or a technique. It might just be a mindset piece. Going back again to these Gen Zs, I don't think there's ever been a generation with so much anxiety, and sure, a lot of it's caused by social media, but you're growing up now. Are you ever going to be able to afford to buy a house? Is the world going to blow itself up? All we hear is adults talking about the cost of living crisis and wars everywhere. It's a very, at a time when a lot of these people haven't quite worked out what they want to be yet. I think it's very difficult. So I do think the sort of pastoral side of things is really important for sales teams. It's, you bully them, you're not going to get the results. You're just not.
You're listening to the Sales Today podcast, and I'm your host, Fred Copestake. On this podcast, we explore how sales professionals can develop a modern approach to winning business, the application of virtual selling techniques, how to create meaningful business relationships, and much more. Why not take our free collaborative selling scorecard to see how your sales approach suits today's environment? You'll find a link in the show notes. And welcome to this edition of the Sales Today podcast, where I'm delighted to be joined by Janet Efero. I've said that correctly, haven't I?
You did say it correctly. Very good.
Because I put a little accent on my notes here in front of me. Yeah, good. And you're a sales trainer.
I am a sales trainer, yes.
An award-winning sales trainer.
I know, fancy, right?
Yeah, cool. But a sales trainer, and I mean, I think you will do lots of different sorts of sales training. I'm not sure how to say this.
Well,
I was going to say you've been around a bit. That sounds terrible.
Accurate, though.
You have much experience in several sales training.
Do you know, I'm going to call myself a generalist because I've never specialised. And being a generalist, I actually think is quite cool because you never get bored.
Yeah, so as a generalist, you'll cover all parts of the sales process. Yeah. So you'll do bits of cold calling, you might do presentation skills, you might do negotiation, you might do key account management.
Absolutely.
All the pieces that somebody in a B2B complex sale would probably need to be they would need to be put in place.
Of course they would. Yeah.
Right, so we're going to talk about every single one of those things today.
Marvelous.
Well, when we had a little chat before, you said, well, let's start at the very beginning and let's talk about the phone call bit.
Yeah.
Or the lack of phone call bit.
Uh-huh.
And I thought, well, how do we talk about the lack of something? But tell me tell us what you were thinking there and where we want to take this.
So when I'm out and about with customers, a new trend has emerged, and I get these really sad sales managers and sales leaders coming over to me going, I've got a great team, Janet, but these youngsters, they just won't pick up the phone. They hate having phone calls. So it's a sort of very pointed Gen Z type thing. But it is genuine, and it doesn't mean Gen Z are bad. It doesn't mean the managers are failing to do their job. There's loads of reasons why this is the case, but I am seeing it more and more and more. And, if you've got teenagers yourself or youngsters in their 20s, you have probably noticed they don't tend to make phone calls. They tend to be on their phone, using it for everything except phoning. So texting, messaging, and communicating. And this was sort of brought home to me really sharply by my beautiful daughter, who, this was a couple of years ago. We were in the car. I can't remember the context, but I said, can you just ring your brother to ask whatever it was? And I got a comedy eye roll and a sigh, like, do I have to? And I'm thinking, what is it? Like, you guys video each other, which to me is much more stressful, but you won't pick up the phone. And so I've got really quite fascinated by this and what we can do about it, because it's a genuine pain point for managers and leaders. How do you make these amazing young people do this basic sales skill, not just hide behind the tech and hide behind the messaging and the emailing and never actually talk to a real live customer? So, yeah.
And actually, I've never really made that connection. Like, you'll video yourself sticking on TikTok, but you won't pick up a phone and talk to somebody.
I know.
And are you talking cold calls, or are you talking responding to inbound as well?
Anything. Literally, that phone is sort of object of fear. And again, I'm going to use my daughter because she's sort of smack bang in this demographic. She's now got a job at Nando's, and because for the last year she's had to talk to people, she can do it now, but she couldn't straight out of college because they're in a sort of bubble where they're protected. So, and I've got a lot of sympathy because, Fred, you and I were a different generation. Think how much we were laughing before we came on this call. Think how much we struggle with tech, for example. We've not grown up with it, we've had to learn it. Well, for these kids, it's the same with them. They've never had to do phone calls, so they struggle with it. So I think we have to be sympathetic because for them, it's a brand new thing that wasn't even in their ecosystem when they were growing up, but we're expecting them to do it. It's very difficult.
Yeah. It no, I'm with you on that. And yeah, like, we'll be sympathetic, and the rest of what we're talking about today is with greatest intent to try to help people get their
Yeah,
heads
of
around
course,
stuff.
of course.
But I mean, is it tech though? Because you said it's tech and tech's the problem, but talking to somebody isn't tech. I
No,
wouldn't even say it's a skill. Maybe it is a skill, and in sales, yes, we can turn it into a skill
yeah,
to do
yeah,
it better.
yeah, yeah.
But that's not tech thing, is it? That's just being able to
No,
talk
it's
to a
not.
human being.
But these are the people that have grown up with phones. And if you look at teenagers, what are they doing as they're walking down the street? They're listening to something on their phone or they're texting. In Japan, they've actually they put the pedestrian crossings. They actually put the flashy signs saying walk. They put them on the ground now because people are just looking at their phones. I don't know if you knew that. Um,
I didn't.
That's quite sad, really, isn't it? But the way they've grown up is different. So they're in
Mm.
charge. They can curate their conversations, can't they? A phone call could go off at a mad tangent and it requires them to make a decision in the moment, which, if you think about texting or messaging, they've got time to think about their response. They haven't got to respond immediately. Or if they do a video or a voice message, they can record it. And if it's not quite right, they can delete it and do it again until it's better. Whereas for them, a live phone call, it's like being on, oh, I don't know, it's like being in the middle of the Colosseum with the lions charging at you, isn't it? Because they don't know what will happen. And to be fair, all of us crave a certain amount of security and safety, don't we? So I've got a lot of sympathy for them. But if managers don't understand the context, if you're a couple of generations separated, it's really tempting to go, oh, what's the matter? Or why aren't they doing it? It's really simple. Because it isn't.
And just do it isn't really helpful.
No.
We've got to help them to do it and give people
Yeah.
around.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you say curate, yeah, so I might use another word. I might use control. So
Yeah.
control what's going on
Absolutely.
within that moment. And
Yeah, yeah.
I
And
can I can control with an emoji or the kind of those text, what are they called? Those like kind of shortened responses or whatever.
well,
And I'd probably
yeah,
do it
you
quite quick, but they seem to do it as quick as a conversation though.
oh man, they're so fast, aren't they? But yeah, so what you're talking about with emojis, that there's a phrase for it, it's called micro expressions. So instead of actual sentences, what do we do? A thumbs up or a laugh emoji? If you think about it. And I don't know if you've noticed, because I have, whereas before I used to structure quite formal emails, I'm starting to use emails a bit like a text message, like thanks, smiley emoji. And it's sort of filtering into how we operate. And again, it's about practice. They're good at this, and that's their world, and that's their bubble, because that's what they know. So we're asking them to do a brand new thing that they've never done before. And one of the ways I try and communicate it to sales managers and sales leaders, because this is something that a lot of these youngsters are really into. It's a bit like going to the gym. If you want this amazing body and you want to be super healthy and you want to be buff, you've got to do the repetition. So you start with the baby steps, and through consistency and through discipline, you build up and you get that fitness. Well, we've got to approach getting these guys to use the phone in exactly the same way. If you've never done an exercise at the gym before, you're going to do a few repetitions and you'll be crumbling. Your muscles will be shaking, you'll be sweating, and you'll think, well, I don't want to do that anymore. So we've got to be a little bit empathetic here and say, well, all right, they're not bad people, but this is a completely new skill. Frame it like getting into shape at the gym and say, look, we're going to give you some exercises you can do to build that muscle so that you can use it in the future. And when you're strong, it'll feel easy. And when you're not, it
Yeah.
won't.
There's a lot of really good stuff in there. So yeah, the kind of it's just what they've grown up with. Doesn't make you good
Yeah,
or bad. It's just how it is.
exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Um, And managers probably had a thing which came through when they were teenagers. It's like, I don't know how to do this thing because it's just not a thing I've done.
Yeah,
And the gym is, I like the gym analogy anyway because of the
yeah,
consistency and the levels of many things. But actually, I think, again, I'm a bit uncomfortable purely talking about generation, but that's
sure.
actually quite a big deal for that generation, isn't it? The
Of
the
course it is.
gym thing and the sort of the kind of the looking buff or whatever it
Yeah,
is something they do resonate with.
yeah,
So
exactly.
we
I
have
mean,
to adjust how we're doing it. Yeah.
there's so many really well-muscled young men. I mean, there definitely wasn't when I was young, because I would have noticed. And there were.
That's
Um,
funny.
no, it's not. It's tragic. Anyway.
It's tragic. Tragicomedy. First time we've
I
had tragicomedy on this podcast.
we're sinking to our level. But I think it's also important to remember too, in sales, resilience is really important because you are broadly getting told no more than you're getting told yes. And there's very few human beings who actually enjoy that. I've been doing sales a long time. If you said, right, Janet, do some cold calling, never am I going to go, yippee. When I'm doing it, I love it, but I just don't really want to do it before the act. So if I'm experienced and I understand all the psychology and I know what to say, what's it like for a youngster who's never done it before? Or what's it like for a regular salesperson who's never done it before? If I was in charge of the world, I would I kind of insist that everyone in the sales role did at least, I don't know, 6 weeks, couple of months in a call center, because oh, that's hard. That is really hard. And if you think you're getting said no to in a regular business development role, you try only calling out, because that is really, really muscle building.
Yeah. It's I don't know if I go that far because I think that would probably waste a lot of people's time. They don't need to have that level of resilience, I don't
Mm,
think, in some jobs.
mm,
Um, but what you say about that, like when you say, right, I need to go and do this, it's like you're flicking a switch, aren't you, that goes, I know how to do it. I've got my
yeah,
systems to do that, as in the actually
yeah,
the buttons I press and the way I go about it, plus
yeah,
how I'm got my self-talk and everything going.
yeah,
Which is a bit like the gym, isn't it?
yeah,
On
exactly.
certain days you don't want to go,
Yeah,
but
but
it's part
you know why
of
you're
the
doing it.
bigger picture. And when you
Yeah,
get there, you can go round and you can do the stuff
yeah,
without completely loving it. It's me this morning, by
exactly.
the
Well, you
way.
can, but again, if
Just
you
because I do.
but again, start off with baby steps. So, all right, I'm not in charge of the world, guys, so you're not going to have to do 2 months in a
Yeah,
call center. But what you could do is you could start people off with saying, well, tell you what, every day make 5 phone calls.
yeah,
And then next
yeah,
week, do 10 phone calls. And then the following week, do 15 phone calls. And then,
yeah,
you'll settle on whatever is a reasonable amount for your role and for what sort of response rate you're getting. And it is that
yeah.
thing, it just gets easier.
Do those have support in place, coaching them, looking what's gone well, looking what's not? So, okay, so let's say we've got 6 months,
Yeah,
which many people would say, you ain't gonna have that long to train people. And you go,
sure.
okay, well, yeah, 6 months is way too long if you're training someone with a lifetime skill. He says massively
Lifetime.
sarcastically, lowest form of wit. Yeah. But okay, so we've got this extended period of time. The 10 and 15 calls is a little bit further along, is it? And we would be doing some
Yeah.
stuff with our first few weeks to get the foundations in
Oh,
place
I
and to
like how you led into
get
that.
them
Very good, very
going
good.
to that.
All right,
It's
yeah.
like
So
I've done it before.
I know. So if you've got a brand new set of newbies, the first thing is most people are really scared. If they've got a brand new job or a brand new with a new company, you've got to understand it's human nature to be a bit scared, want to do your best, bit anxious, excited but anxious. So you've got to set these people up properly. So okay, I'm a sales trainer, and I would say this, but you've got to give them the training and the support. So I'll give you a really good example. I cut my sales teeth at Xerox. So grateful for it. One of the best companies in the world to learn sales. But when I started as a salesperson, it took them 13 weeks to put me on the training. Nobody's fault. There just wasn't any training available until 13 weeks. And I can remember as a youngster, those 13 weeks, I was terrified because I didn't know what I was doing. I had a target. And I just thought, they're going to fire me. They're going to realize they've made a mistake because I don't know what I'm doing. And as soon as I went on that training, like all the stress just fell off me because I had a structure. And I knew I wasn't good yet, but I had a structure. So I had something to practice. And that was massive mindset wise. So, what you have to do, whether you're a sales leader or whether you're a trainer or whether you're a manager, you've got to help these people at the beginning and give them a bit of a structure. If you can't do anything else, give them a structure. So, what's the objective? Well, is it to make phone calls? Is it to set appointments? Is it to close deals? Sales jobs vary massively, of course they do, but you've got to give them a structure so they know what to say. And I don't mean a script. I'm not a fan of script. A structure is a skeleton. You do these stages, you might say these things, but for God's sake, don't make them read a script. That's just soul destroying. And nobody quite speaks like everybody else speaks. So you're just piling on another layer of stress with a script. But you give them a structure, you explain all the steps, you teach them the basics like questioning and listening skills. You teach them things like mirroring, you teach them how to build rapport and to discover needs and to demonstrate things like value. And you teach them how to close for the meeting or whatever the thing is that you're closing for. So you give them that structure and you let them practice in a safe environment. And if you've got a group, that's even better because they really will resonate with their peers. So I know this sounds like really basic stuff, but you get the basics right. And I'm going to use the gym analogy again. What do you get when you start off at a gym? Well, you should get some sort of trainer or coach helping you use the machines properly so you don't hurt yourself and setting a program that you don't overstretch, but it achieves your objectives. So the structure to me is the absolute backbone of everything you do, and it's like a safety net. It's the thing you can always go back to. I don't know what you think, Fred.
No, I absolutely agree 100%. And I think there's another thing that we can do in building the structure or putting the foundations in place.
Mm,
And that it's not just saying this is the structure, do it. It's this is the structure, but this is why it works, and
yes,
this is the thinking
yes,
behind it. Because
yes,
I also think we stitch people up by saying, well, let's give them a ton of product training
yeah,
and then say, off you go and talk to people about that.
yeah. It
But
doesn't
they
work.
will literally do as they're told. They'll talk to people about the product, and we know that that won't work.
Yeah, because it's boring.
So because it's boring and because nobody really cares, and it's actually not
Yeah,
why people buy it. They don't buy your
yeah,
product because it sells itself, and
yeah,
it's what I call it becomes an entitled approach. It's the this is what people are buying. They have pain prize, they have desires, they have drivers, they have it's the stuff that's going
yes,
on behind it.
yes,
That is what you're getting into is having conversations about that stuff, which is very, very
yeah,
human. So
yeah,
you need to get this bit to feed into your structure. Then when you've got these things, you're in an incredibly powerful place because we've given you this understanding of why people buy, a
yeah,
structure to do that. You can run this again and again and again. You can go into different jobs, you've got different products, you've got different stuff going on. Ignore the product training or ask them the questions as to, yeah, well, okay, so what's that actually doing for people? And then feed that into your structure. So
yeah,
early on, we've got these things where people get really panicky, say, oh, you're not selling, you're not selling. Like, well, they might as well not bother because they're not going to do anything anyway. Let's get these things in place and then get them going out, baby steps, like you say,
yeah, yeah.
doing it until they're comfortable.
Yeah. And I think as well, one of the things we can do is instead of just saying you're flogging stuff to hit a target and earn commission, which, yeah, it's quite transactional, isn't it? If you frame sales as, it truly is, isn't it? You think about the skills you've got to have in sales. It's like a really multidisciplinary role that completely sets you up for life in whatever you want to do afterwards. Because if you can sell, what can you do? You can communicate with people, you can persuade people, you've got to have discipline, time management, you've got to be prepared to state your case, you've got to stand your ground and negotiate. I mean, gosh, the skills go on and on and on. So if you can frame what they're doing as like a fascinating journey into psychology and what motivates people to buy and what factors of influence can you ethically apply to help people make a good decision that benefits them, then wallop. I mean, how much more exciting is that? And that's
It,
what I try and do.
the most exciting thing is to say, right, I'm going to tell you some stuff here, and you could use these for bad. you could use this
Oh yes,
unethically. And for everyone's like, "Whoa, what are they
yeah.
then?"
Are you going to be a villain or a good guy?
Do you promise you're going to use the right? Oh yeah, yeah, of
Yeah.
course I am.
Well, it's like
Yeah,
a superpower, isn't it? I mean, in the wrong
yeah.
hands. I mean, I often reference the Wolf of Wall Street because I mean it's something that everybody understands. The guy could sell, of course he did. Now, morally, where was his compass? Probably not pointing in the direction we'd really like, but he understood psychology, and that's how he could do it. He understood human behavior, and you can learn these things. It's not like something you've innately got in your brain. And I think that would really appeal to, well, it appeals to everyone. I mean, when I do things like I use Jung's behavioral matrix when I'm doing training, and and I mean whether it's sales training or other training, and people just love it because it's so relatable, and they say things like, "Ah, now I know why my husband took 2 years to buy a lawnmower. He's a blue," and I think it's just making it really real because these people are like sponges. Sort of going back to the Gen Z lot, they do love learning. They really are so good at little chunks of information really land. Don't bother giving them like a 3 hour long lecture because that's not going to land. But little chunks of information, that's the way to get people to do stuff. So it might not be that you need 3 days training. You might need regular little chunks of training, like 5 minute sessions or 30-minute sessions. That could be where you really land with these people.
I got 3 days sales training was designed for sales trainers
Yeah, I quite like
and
it.
still is.
Yeah.
Well, of course it is because we can go somewhere, we can set ourselves up, and we're there, and you can book in the
Yeah.
hotel. You don't need to move, and it's
I'm
good,
in
and you can
charge of my
invoice nicely. And
empire.
well, of course it is, and it's based on the old concept of selling time.
Yeah.
Whereas actually, the most effective, like you just said, is break it down into little
Yeah.
chunks where, look, learn this little
Yeah.
bit, go away and do it, come back,
Yeah.
right, you had a little win. Well,
Yeah.
satire success or
I
something, isn't
mean,
it?
I
Then
don't
you
know.
do something else, do. And you could, I mean, again, the tech which might have caused this problem is completely playing into our hands to be the
Uh,
best thing to help
yeah.
us deliver this in a way
Yeah.
that's more palatable.
And I think we discussed this before when we met. There's definitely a trend. I think people are finally getting it. It is better to have a 3 month blended program tailored to you than to just blow the budget on a week sales training and then never look at it again for a year. Because what is it about? Is it ticking a box or is it about getting results? Well, every time I want it to be about results, without stopping and getting too serious. If I work with you, it's because I really want to increase your ROI. I don't want it to be a tick box exercise because it dilutes my brand. So, we've got to be thinking about everything is always pinned around results. And I know we're having a laugh and I know we're talking about nice stuff, but it's got to be about results because otherwise it's pointless.
It is pointless. And yeah, okay. I mean,
What
I've
with
gone
with
off
the
on this. Well, I
possibility?
mean, I've gone off on this a little bit about guaranteeing sales and training, and
Yeah,
kind of loads of people say, no, no, you can't, you can't, you can't. It's like,
yeah, I saw
hang
that
on a
post.
minute. We train people to sell results. We drill it into them. This is what you sell. You don't sell a product. You don't sell a
Mm,
service. You sell an outcome.
mm.
But that don't count for us because we're different. I mean, God, that was ridiculous. The number of people that said,
Bit indulgent,
I
isn't it?
well, I get it. Some things are harder to guarantee.
Yeah,
Oh, because you're only doing a 1 day thing around this. Okay, well, you're not going to have the impact. So sell
yeah,
the right bloody solution.
yeah,
But anyway, this is a different episode. That's a proper. but
yeah,
but
yeah,
going back
probably.
to the well, going back to sales skills and life skills.
Sure.
That's how I would define that. I mean, I've been
Yeah,
in a very kind of I don't know privileged position where I've done some stuff with a local uni where they've done that, the Student Sales
yeah,
Academy, and they
yeah,
positioned it as that sales skills and life skills,
yeah.
not just from employability that look, some people might want to go into sales. I mean, the academics would hate that. Why would they want to do that? Because I don't think academics get sales.
No.
Employability do. They also
Yeah.
do get that if you're going to be a doctor, bedside manner, I mean, it's kind of say sales skills in a way, and
Oh, it is.
everybody's going to sell something in a way. And
Yes.
I help them position some stuff around that. Everyone is by selling something, to sell is human, all that good stuff. And seeing that response, that's what you've talked about. These are graduates and kind of a couple of sessions
Yeah.
I ran, the questions coming in, they're brilliant.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was actually I'm not going to say who the people I were training the week before. But it's like you're better than the professional salespeople I've trained this week. But
Yeah, because
anyway,
but I mean, I'm quite pleased that there's a sort of cynicism in sales, which I'm seeing. I think it is generational. I'm seeing it reduce. Oh, we've always done it like this, and oh, the youngsters are more flexible. They're more prepared to try things. And I think again, this might be partly when I was talking about their digital world. If you think about how they communicate, they've often got several layers going on at the same time. So, and again, I've noticed that I'm starting to pick this up. So they might message someone, they might send them a Snapchat. They'll look at them on Instagram, maybe they'll do a WhatsApp message, and then they'll record a voice note. And these are all different layers of the same conversation, but they're not just doing it with one person, they're doing it on multiple points with lots of different people. So that this is actually a skill that we could utilize. I mean, the downside, of course, is although we're more connected than we've ever been before, it can be harder to reach clients, can't it? Because what if they don't read their emails anymore? What if they don't answer their phone anymore? How do you contact them? They're getting bombarded with direct messages on LinkedIn, so they're not looking at those anymore. Even the big companies are starting to use text message because they realize people read texts. So perhaps as future sales leaders grow up from this generation, actually the way you're going to reach them is through Snapchat or TikTok. I don't know.
Again, I did a bit of a series with a guy called Paul Fernandez a bit back. We called it Squiggle Think. Now, he's a marketer.
Nice.
And the concept being that, what a lot of sales leaders will still want is a sales process that they
Yeah.
can do to people.
Yeah.
It's like, well, actually, that doesn't make sense anymore. I mean, at least look at the buying process and align
Yeah.
what you're doing to that. Except
Yeah.
the buying process isn't step, 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 step. Oh, I have a need. Oh, I think it is an implicit need. Ah, I must evaluate options having specified.
Yeah. So no one ever.
It's not like that. It's this squiggle. It's this messy squiggle where
Yeah.
they're kind of
Yeah.
not sure where they are and they're pulling information. It's
Yeah.
not I have to speak to a salesperson because they are the custodians of all the info. It's I'll have a look online
Yeah.
because there's so much stuff there, and they'll go and look, and then I might speak to somebody, and we've just got to be having this stuff available to them
Yeah.
at the right time. And
Yeah.
some of that's marketing, but there's no reason that a salesperson can't be producing some of this, positioning
Sure.
themselves to be, when you're ready to talk, hey, look, you got this stuff from
Yeah.
me, you
Yeah.
know?
I agree. Because like when I was at Xerox, you could legitimately ring someone up and go, "Hey, we got a new thing. Can I come in and talk with you about it?" Well, now they know about the new thing before you do
Yeah.
because they've had the
Yeah.
new.
And all the competitors' new things.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
is it like yes, I've read about that and I've read about the competitors and I've seen the
Yeah.
comparison charts and I've stuck it into ChatGPT to get it to do a comparison for me.
Yeah.
Like, oh,
Whoa.
we haven't done that bit
Yeah.
yet.
So how am I relevant as a salesperson? And obviously inbound has become much bigger, and that's fair. But sort of jumping around a little bit. So going back to the phone call thing, I think where phone calls work is that so few people are doing them that you stand
Mm,
out. And then what about simple things like the follow-up courtesy call? What about where sales morphs into account management, stroke customer service, stroke customer experience? There, the phone calls are really valuable. You can clarify something so quickly. I wanted to check, did you get the order? Is everything okay? Now, that is a much better phone conversation than an email, especially if
yeah.
people aren't checking their emails very frequently. So it's helping people understand where they can appropriately use the telephone to save time or to make a better impression. And another term that we're familiar with, touches, is a different way of touching someone.
Yeah. Yeah.
These are salespeople, so you know that's not like sleazy, right? You know that is a legitimate sales and marketing term before we go any further.
I know what I'm going to use as the clip for this.
Oh, don't. Oh, no, that's unfair. Um, but, the other thing I'm teaching people is if everyone's going left, maybe you should be going right. So just because all the tech companies in the world really want you to have their software or their email sequencing or their whatever it is, people are so overwhelmed with it, they're zoning out from it. So what can you be doing that's different? Well, telephoning is one thing. What about snail mail, sending actual letters in the actual post? I've had great responses with that because you think about it now, apart from Christmas and your birthday, when's the last time you got something nice through the post? Because for me, it's
Yeah.
never. It's estate agents, curry shops, and bills. That's all I ever get. It's not fair. But if someone took
Yeah.
the trouble to send something a bit different, and I don't mean the corporate brochure and the corporate pen, but a handwritten letter saying, "Here I am. This is what we do. When you're ready, let's have a chat."
Or the crumpled letter.
I'm not sure about
It
that.
it depends, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's a pattern interrupt, so I really like it. But it won't work with every marketplace. So for every person that thinks it's hilarious, there'll be somebody else going, this person's an idiot, I'm never going to do business with them. So it's risky. So you've got to tailor it to your market. I mean, I do quite like the one, are you thinking about the one that says, here's a letter, I've crumpled it up to save you the trouble of doing it yourself before you throw it in the bin, that one. Yeah, I mean, I love that for its originality, but I'm not sure it's going to work with necessarily corporate clients.
That's that tactic. But
Yeah.
what we're saying is the concept of doing something like that, because so many people do the same thing. I tend to do more work in engineering space, and I say, I stood in front of a group there, and I stuck on the wall, on the slide. I got a wind turbine, a jet fighter, and a racing car. I said, what have these got in common? And they came up with some really engineering responses. I said, well, those things you've said are probably right, but actually, all of you have them on your website. It was a real how to win friends and influence moment. And they all went, God, we do. Right. So let's look at the way in which you're going about doing the stuff you're doing. You'll all be doing and saying the same thing. You're all number one. You're already innovative. You're all spending tons on R&D. You've all got the best product. How do I know or care as a customer? So let's break out of that.
Yeah, that's interesting. I was coaching somebody yesterday, and they're offering, because they do it a bit differently, it genuinely is slightly better quality, it's a bit quicker, and therefore it's cheaper. And I said, the problem you got is everybody else is saying that.
And
So
it really is.
yeah,
They're all saying,
work.
nobody else is going, ours is that. Probably. Actually, if you said probably, you're actually sounding different. Probably the best
That's what
lager
I
in the
coached her
world.
to do. That's what I coached her to do. We do it this way, so it's quicker. It tends to be better quality, and actually, usually that results in it being cheaper. And I was explaining that usually brings into play a little bit of doubt and a little bit of intrigue, and that is sort of the hook in that scenario. But yeah, I mean, how do you stand out in a busy place? We certainly don't do what everyone else is.
Yeah. Who was the car company that said we're the second best? The
I
car hire
don't
company.
know.
It was either Avis or Hertz. They said we're the second best car hire company in the world.
That would have been a good campaign if we could remember the answer, wouldn't it?
It was in America. That's why I didn't
Was
see
it?
it. But
I mean, I liked the
and of course
classic.
you're going to get, and then of course, so we try harder because we want to be number one. It's like, oh, actually,
That was
and
good.
you
Yeah,
are. There's no point in
yeah,
trying to claim that you are because the other one was so
yeah,
much bigger anyway. It was either Hertz and
yeah,
Avis or the other way around or
yeah.
whatever. So
Or probably the best lager in the world,
yeah.
which I believe was let down by the fact it wasn't actually that good. But I don't drink it, so I
Well,
don't know.
they're already saying probably, weren't they? Reassuringly expensive if we're on beer,
Yeah, yeah,
but no, the phone thing is funny. I mean, going back to where we were starting there, because I've been talking to somebody recently, and then he's going nuts at the fact that it's not even a cold calling piece. It's they are getting leads from the website, right? So somebody is doing the squiggle think piece. They're saying,
yeah,
you know what, I'm ready to talk to somebody now. There's a bit I can't find. I want help making sense of something.
yeah.
They're filling a form in, and he says, we're sending them back to the website. They
What?
get sent to a salesperson who then goes, oh, okay. And they email them back saying, look at this, rather than going, oh, brilliant. Right. Yeah, you've said you've got this thing. Let's have a talk about what it is you're
You
trying
are
to do here.
educating these people, aren't you, Fred?
Well, I'm trying to.
Gosh,
It's
yeah.
it's crazy. When you think about it, it's crazy. But rather than going, you're absolute muppets doing that, which is the temptation,
Keep it in.
calm, breathe. But it's like you said earlier, it's why is that happening?
Yeah,
Because that's just a natural thing for them to do,
yeah,
is to send people to somewhere where they can see something, because that's how they're communicating in the rest of life.
yeah,
So we need to understand that at a bit more fundamental
yeah,
level, don't we? To
yeah.
then say stop being a muppet. I don't.
But,
I don't. I don't think I've ever said that on training.
but actually, look, that is a good point, because the knee-jerk reaction is literally, what's wrong with you? Get a life, just do it. But that doesn't work with everybody. And
No.
it doesn't mean they're bad people. It just means that everyone's a little bit different. And I can remember again, and I reflect a lot on my time as a salesperson, because I don't ever want to forget what it felt like. As a salesperson, you tend to put yourself under the most enormous pressure anyway.
Mm.
Never mind that you've got a target and a boss breathing down your neck. You put yourself under a lot of pressure. So, in many ways, what you don't need is more pressure. You need someone who's kind of on your team, on your side, someone who understands what you're going through, who can give you a little bit of that empathy and say, look, do you know what? There's nothing wrong with you. Tell you what, let's try this. This worked for me. That's what you need when you're in that zone. I mean, I can remember the highs of sales very clearly, but I can also remember the lows, and most of the lows were caused by pressure and fear of failure. So these are people that do want to succeed, and it's about enabling them more than anything else. It's not about criticizing them, it's about giving them the tools they need to do the job. And if that is a sort of metaphorical cuddle, then that's exactly what you should give them. And I think that's the skill of where a good leader, a good coach, or a good trainer can understand where that is what they need. And it might not be a process or a technique, it might just be a mindset piece. Going back again to these Gen Zs, I don't think there's ever been a generation with so much anxiety. And sure, a lot of it's caused by social media, but you're growing up now. Are you ever going to be able to afford to buy a house? Is the world going to blow itself up? All we hear is adults talking about the cost of living crisis and wars everywhere. It's a very, at a time when a lot of these people haven't quite worked out what they want to be yet. I think it's very difficult. So I do think the sort of pastoral side of things is really important for sales teams. It's, you bully them, you're not going to get the results. You're just not.
No, I'm with you on that one. We can do so much more.
Mm,
And look at it, and it is good for everyone. I
yeah.
talk a lot about win-win-win now. From a salesperson point of view, win for the customer,
Yeah.
win for the company, win for your conscience. I mean, yeah, same from a management point of view.
Yeah.
We can do that. So,
Yeah.
oh, awesome,
Awesome.
awesome stuff. I mean, we could go on long into
I
the
think we
night, I
could.
think,
I
on
think we
this.
could. This doesn't feel
But
like work. This feels like fun.
well, and it feels like we can actually make a bit of a difference here, which is why we do what we do,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
I agree with that.
so where do you do what you do? Where can people find you to learn a bit more and to see what you talk
Oh, thank
about?
you. Easiest place to find me is LinkedIn. The good news is there's nobody else with my name anywhere in the world. Yay! So check me out on LinkedIn. I think there'll be a link in the info attached to
Yep.
this. So yeah, just pop over on LinkedIn. You can always message me. Have a look at my stuff. Have a look at my recommendations. And if you fancy a chat, do you know what? I just like doing business by having a chat. Ironic, isn't it? On the phone, or maybe even
Send me a message and I'll point
yeah,
you to a
text me.
website.
You can start off with that, but expect a phone call or a conversation at some point.
Oh, brilliant. Oh, thank you so much, Janet. It's been really cool. I mean, we have jumped around a little bit. Probably not a surprise when you look at profiles, social profiles, but no, but brilliant. And I say we will drop that link in the show notes. So thanks for coming along and sharing so much.
My pleasure. Thank you so much. It's been a joy.
Thank you for listening to the Sales Today podcast with me, your host, Fred Copestake. I hope you've enjoyed what you heard today. If you did, please get in touch and hit subscribe. And remember, you can take the collaborative selling scorecard for free to check out how your sales approach works in today's environment. You'll find it in the show notes.